Hey there folks, and welcome to this video. I didn't really think I was going to be doing a piece to camera until the general notice, but honestly, I just want to talk about this because otherwise the general notice is just going to be overwhelmed and be incredibly long just talk about the World Motorsport Council. In reality, it probably still is, but I want to get at least one thing into its own separate video from it, and let's just talk about this. Let's talk about what's going on with the FIA. Because one of the things that did get passed the World Motorsport Council with a majority of 90.71% was the removal of term limits from the FIA presidency. You know, I have a degree in politics, and in those circles there's often a joke about how it sounds very authoritarian when you have a majority that ends up like in the 90s. Usually, if you have a majority that's over, let's say, 2/3, there's something interesting going on there. But yeah, term limits are removed from the FIA presidency. The argument from the FIA presidency, who wanted these term limits removed, is that if you're part of a member club, you don't have term limits. Which sometimes sounds okay. But we'll get into the kind of ethics of that all in all. Because there is another thing that affects this current FIA presidency, which is being rumoured as the next move. Because you see, Mohammed bin Sulayem is currently 64. There is an age limit for the FIA presidency of 70. Now, he can be elected again and then serve out another term if he turns 70 during that term. So in theory, he still has one more term. But supposedly, according to spokespeople within this part of the FIA, that's going to go soon as well. Because it seems unfair there should be an age limit. And not all sports clubs want to have the age limit either, so why don't we just remove it? You can already see where this is going, can't you? Because the main criticism that the FIA has had under Mohammed bin Sulayem has been this sort of authoritarian skew. Now, it's not really something that's new to the FIA. If you look at FIA and FISA precedents in the past, you can look at Jean-Marie Balest. Arguably the most prominent of them is probably Max Mosley. Max Mosley has this whole interesting side story, though, in that, you know, his father was literally a fascist. Like jailed by the British government during the Second World War because of his fascist. So, yeah, it's not new to the FIA. I personally get concerned that people believe this is necessarily a new thing, and I wonder whether or not it would look different if we were talking about this with Jean Todt. But Mohammed bin Sulayem hasn't exactly made friends in post, and this then leads to something else that's quite interesting. Because one of the things that interests me about MBS, and what interests me about him and his presidency, is it feels like he really desperately wants to be liked. You know, in the kind of, in the kind of Donald Trump way of wanting to be the centre of attention. He shows up at F1 races. He likes to go and try and hug the athletes. I mean, one of the articles that I'm going to be linking from Motorsport shows a photo of him going up to Andrea Kimi Antonelli and dousing him in water after a session. I think it's after the Miami Grand Prix. He so desperately wants to be liked. He so desperately wants to be friends, at least in terms of the image that he cultivates for himself. That's where you've got, like, the introduction of the President's Medal, which is a Bernie Ecclestone idea that sounded silly at the time. I think, I remember, I've got somewhere the Top Gear annual for 2008, and it comes up with all of the mad ideas Bernie Ecclestone had, which included sprinklers to the side of the track, handing out medals for the winners, changing, say, the point system to be like a kind of Olympic medals chart. Mohammed bin Sulayem has been carrying those across or he's been suggesting them if they haven't been carried through. And because of the way that the system is, he could do this for the rest of his life, or until he gets bored, but quite according to his critics, they are quite concerned that he will do this for the rest of his life. And I want to go to the Bernie of it all, because if you remember last year during the presidential election, Mohammed bin Sulayem was the only person on the ballot. The reason being was you had to have a certain amount of national bodies recommend you, and they had to represent all of the continents. Now, it just so happened that for Latin America, there was only one person who could be certified to nominate somebody for the FIA presidency. Was it Fabiana Eccleston, the wife of Bernie Eccleston? It was. Which then leads to its own thing. Is Bernie still trying to call the shots in his 90s? Perhaps. But it leads to something absolutely fascinating when the person he's putting forward is somebody who acts like a younger Bernie. Like, the 26 rules and these upcoming WRC 27 rules, they are the product of this presidency. And yet, the presidency has decided that these rules are DOA. Like, the F126 rules were coming in, and Mohammed bin Sulayem's like, oh yeah, we can bring back V10s. Naturally aspirated V10s, why not? Or, let's go to V8s. We can get rid of the hybrids entirely, just have internal combustion engines. It's a similar thing with the WRC, which is going to be the focus of the general notice. WRC 27 regs, oh, there are going to be 10 tuners. We have so many people who are interested in building on rally cars. Ooh, actually, we're going to create the Rally 2 kit. Even though most of the manufacturers that you'd want to try and entice to do a Rally 2 kit car are saying, no, we don't want to do that. It just leads to a really interesting situation when it comes to the head of World Motorsport. And I want to leave it with that, folks. I want to leave it with thinking about that, thinking about where the world of motorsport could be going. Because you better get used to this kind of thing for a long time. Could we see more convergence with other series? I hope so. That hypercar LMDH conversion, that kind of convergence that we're seeing there is going really well. And the next generation looks like it could be interesting as well. Yeah, it might be devastating for something like the Valkyrie project, but that could still be a success. The TCR formula is looking like it could continue to show some strengths. But this presidency is struggling to escape all of the negative press around it, including them trash-talking their own rules, including as well whatever's been going on in terms of the resignation of the Vice President of Sport in Robert Reid and the kicking out of, say, Motorsport UK from council meetings, so they didn't want to sign NDAs. In addition to all of that, it just seems like it's surrounded by a lot of yes men. It just seems like it's consolidating itself around itself, putting itself in an echo chamber, chucking itself out of the echo chamber every once in a while to go, everything in there is going wrong, but it's not our fault, not us the ones making it. It's a brilliant time to cover it when you're talking about the world of politics and politics in motorsport. It absolutely is. But at the same time, it does leave me concerned. Because it looks like the FIA can't tie its own shoelaces. And the reason why is the man wearing the shoes, who's blaming the cobbler, who's his best mate, who he put into the position without any kind of interview process. Lots of parallels with the real world of politics, aren't there? Anyways, folks, as always, thanks for watching, thanks for joining, thanks for continued support. Let me know your thoughts and feelings on this whole matter in the comment section down below. At the same time, I hope you're staying safe. This continental European heatwave is coming, hopefully, to an end. But yeah, till next time, bye for now.